have it's educational technology for 2012. When you first come into the Moodle, you're going to sign in, and then next time you come in here, you'll see educational technology courses, and down here is the Introduction to Instructional Design. Returning to the website. Now this will happen to you. You'll see this, and you'll type in your username and password, which you won't do right now, but later on you need to have the registration code for this, which I'm not going to tell you yet.
Is it Rosebud?
Nope. I changed on purpose. It's something better than Rosebud. It was Rosebud for the summer. And
Plastics?
nope.
I don't know what the other one was.
I'll give you a hint. It's the best song by a great group. The name of the best song by one of my favorites.
Is there more than 10 people in the band?
Nah, there's only like 5, I think. Now, and it's a 70s band, but don't ask me. So, okay, so here we are, introduction, and each week we'll have its own section, and there are a couple of downloads here for this week's assignments. One of them is the Instructional Design Models. This is a website that has 5 or 6 instructional design models. These are state-of-the-art models that people use. And I'm going to ask you to read this week and pick which one or two is you feel the most use for yourself. Which one of these models itself. And these are the top-of-the-line models. I mean, the ones you see here are ADDIE is one. Have you heard of that? The ADDIE model? It's pretty popular. Merrill's First Principles of Instruction. That guy was my professor, so it's in there. Dick and Carey model is the state of the art. Dick and Carey is what almost every business uses. It's, you'll see. Then Kemp's instructional design model, Gagne's 9 events of instruction, and so on, Bloom, etc. So I'd like you to go through these, and the first one, the one that's the most like what you would like to do, maybe there's some elements of a couple of the others, you can put those down. I have questions in the homework that you'll answer about this. Okay? One question. Yes?
What's your favorite one?
I'm sorry?
What's your favorite one?
My favorite what?
Model.
Of those? I'm not going to tell you. Why would I do that and spoil the fun? But there is one. We had to do Dick and Carey when I was in grad school. And if you're in business, I mean, it's like every little step is planned out. So in some ways, that's a really good thing for business. Okay, so.
So we're responding to that on the Moodle.
You bet. On the Moodle and also on your personal site. You're going to make personal sites tonight before we leave. And these websites will be, some of you have made them in my classes in the past. And you're all going to make a website tonight, free site, and you're going to put your assignments there as well. If you put them on the Moodle and I grade them, no one else is going to see them. So that when you make stuff and you put stuff up there, I'd like you to put it up so that you can see what other folks have done, and you can also show other people what you've done. And I like that because I want you to learn from each other. You're never going to have that opportunity again. Once you graduate, get out of school, you're not going to have the opportunity to work in concert with people over a period of time on certain projects. So you're going to have your own website. We'll do that before we leave. You'll email me that address, URL, and then I'll put it on the class Moodle. And then everybody will be able to see, go to everybody else's site. Okay? I'm going to give you a bonus question. So one more bonus question about anything.
It's not really important, but I was just wondering, I'm assuming we're using some of the Z-Wig web thing for making our website. Which one?
YOLA. You never heard of it. You will.
No WebEx? Or not WebEx,
We will.
the app.
No, I use YOLA.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you have a Yola account, and I already have 2 Yola websites,
Make a third one.
but you have to pay after.
No, it says 5.
Does it say 5? Because
Pretty sure it's
I'll
5.
look.
Pretty sure it's 5. It used to be 5. It used to be free for everything. No, it's 5, yeah.
Oh,
Okay. And there was one question in the back, another one?
I was just kind of pretty much
Same thing. Okay. So here's the syllabus, and I just want to go over this so there's no mistakes and you guys can ask. Good. So I don't know what to use. I mean, this is all new for me. Okay, so. I'm Dr. Sponder. Basically, you're better off emailing me than anything else. My phone was broken like for a whole year, so I probably don't answer it much. Course description, you'll see basically developing instructional design processes and making some different products. And I like to emphasize the development of materials. Instruction is one thing, but materials are also things that you can develop and use again and again and again and help your teaching as well. And here's a tip, one of the many tips. If you find a good program, a good video, a good laser disc, I used to design laser discs, watch how they teach, because you can pick up all sorts of good vocabulary and techniques from well-designed instruction. So whenever you find well-designed instruction, watch it and see how they say certain things and try and pick that up. That will help you immensely. Personal website, you'll have a website. There is a book, a text called Making It Happen by Mackenzie Kyle. This is a book that deals with project management, managing a project. Now, it's not about ed tech, it's actually about building a boat for an organization. But when I first came here, I was looking for some book that would show people how to manage projects, but also help with instructional system design. And I found this book, and it's the best text you'll ever see, because it's a story. I mean, it's not a text. It's not like you're reading a text. And when I first got it, the first time I used it, I called the author. I called the publishing company, and I called the author, who was in British Columbia at the time. And I said, well, I'm using this book for instructional design. He said, I don't know how you're going to do that, but students read it the first or second week, and then after they read it, they had, we called Mackenzie Kyle. We had an audio conference with him. And so the students were talking about it, and he told us that he found this a great way to teach. Plus, after I started teaching this, the book went from like 79 or 100,000 to like down to 34,000, because people started buying it. Later on, people from business that we taught here, McGraw-Hill, other businesses started using that in their organization as well. So this is an outstanding book. And then at the end of the course, after we used the lessons from Making It Happen, we called him again and had like kind of a final feedback conference with him. And students, he was interested in hearing what the students said, whether the book was useful for them as something to help them with instructional design and project management. And it was really good. They had some great feedback for him. A couple of things he hadn't thought about, so it was really a nice activity. You can buy this book online at Amazon.com. I've got a link for it in the homework. And the thing is, you can get this online for like 2 cents. I mean, it's an older book now, because we've had it for like 6 or 8 years or whatever. You probably pay more in postage than you will in the book, for the book itself. You can also download it for the Kindle. I think it's available for the Kindle. And the thing is, we're not going to be reading this till the 4th week. So I'd like you to do it this week, to go ahead and order it, because sometimes it takes a week or two for it to come. Okay, question about that? Has anyone heard of the book, Making It Happen? Yeah.
This is more of a comment. It is for Kindle. It's about $15. So
Oh, yeah.
if you get the paperback for like 2 cents, then I recommend doing that. It's like $15 for the Kindle.
Yeah, and then it's like $4 to ship or something like that. But yeah. And if you know anybody in the program, some people have it. It's a good book. You're going to want to write in it, and there are some incredible lessons for instructional design, also for project management. It's important to learn to manage projects, because you're going to be doing that as part of your job. Okay, software, smartboard software, Keynote here in the Mac, PowerPoint. You guys can do something at home with PowerPoint, and a lot of web tool programs in this particular graduate program. You're going to learn a ton of stuff. We use whatever is available, and we use a lot of it. And then objectives, blah, 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 blah. Classwork. Now, there are two major assignments. One is a presentation, and I'm going to give you a template, and you're going to develop a set of 5 presentations to teach a subject. Like there's like a unit or something you're going to teach. Those people who aren't in the classroom now, think about something that you would teach, say, a group of adults or just whatever your target audience is, that would take maybe 4 or 5 presentations, maybe fixing a motorcycle or whatever it is. In a classroom, it could be the history of Connecticut. That's like a 4th grade. I think that's like isn't that Connecticut in the 4th grade? 3rd grade. Okay, and then
At
the
least in Newington, it is, because my daughter's doing it.
or the United States, it might be the Native Americans and so on. So you make 5 of those and some support materials for it. So we're going to look at designing presentations. There's some things you're going to fight me on. We're going to have to arm wrestle, but I'm going to show you some things. Then that'll be due like October 16th. So we're going to have like the first half to work on those. Are you cold? Good. Okay. If anybody needs it turned down, I will turn it down. Okay, just let me know. Then a notebook, you're going to do a different topic, and you're going to use the Smart Notebook, which is a program that comes with the Smart Board. It's like PowerPoint, but better. And you're going to learn to use this, and you're going to develop 5 lessons, interactive lessons. So then you're going to be doing stuff on here that the class is going to respond to, pretend to be your audience. You might do 4th grade. Yeah, go ahead.
How long are these lessons? Like, you want like a full-length lesson?
Well, for the presentation, no more than 10 minutes.
Okay.
For the actual lesson itself, I challenge you. Here's the challenge. One screen can be used for 40 minutes in 5 different ways and not repeat itself. You can do that if you can, you don't have to give a 40-minute lesson, but if you can plan to use 1 screen or 2 screens interactively with your students, and you can do this, if you design it well, then that's fine too. So what you do is, when we do the Smart Notebook, as you do the lesson plan and plan out how that screen or 2 screens would be used, then we can figure out if it's going to take 40 minutes or whatever it is in the class, whatever you have. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Or did I tell you less or more? Okay, yeah.
Will it be for a group that you choose, like first
No.
grade, or?
Anything you do in any of my classes is for yourself. It's got to be for your target audience. I mean, you should always get a 2 for 1 in these classes. The class and then work on it so that you get everybody else's feedback about what you're doing, and people will learn from you maybe about a different audience that you're working with. Plus you'll get my feedback, and then you can go the next day and use it in the class. If you don't use the stuff in these classes, you're wasting your time. I mean, you're really wasting your time and money if you don't use it. And if you're not teaching now, at least there are avenues for you to use your educational technology as well. If you're not teaching, if you're a TA or if you're trying to get into training and development, there are certain things you can still do to keep those skills up. Now, have you've used the Smartboard,
Yeah, I've designed lessons.
and can you spend 40 minutes on 1 screen? To a screen?
Yeah, in fact, when you said that, I was thinking of things I've done in the past.
Okay, and why would you want to do that?
Well, for me, it's more of the interactive piece for it. So, especially like I teach physical science, so going over things like the atom, for example, I've had up on the board a model of the atom, and the students have to move the electrons, protons, and neutrons up to it and click and drag it up. And I've spent like 40 minutes with them working on it and coming up to the board and moving, saying, all right, now make nitrogen, make oxygen, and having them do that. And I've probably spent more doing stuff like that.
Does it count if you put like a song link or something? Because I'm first grade, so I have links that.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. We're flexible. I don't want to limit you to my imagination. I don't know if you understand that, but I have a certain way of doing things. Dr. Abed has a certain way of doing things. If you come out here just trying to please me or trying to please Dr. Abed, you're wasting your time. I mean, you probably know you're going to be teaching in the next 20 or 30 years. I guarantee you that you're going to have better ideas as we go along. I'm just going to try and help you as much as possible, but I really want you to develop the you-ness, whatever your individual creativity. And so that could work. I don't know what right now. When they look at it, you'll see. I mean, I'm sure you'll do okay. So those are two different things that require two different types of cognitive skills. Now, if you spend 45 minutes with one particular screen, say you have a smartboard screen up here, and you have students do things, you can have them do things that call for different cognitive skills. So some of the skills could be recognizing things, some of the skills could be moving things, some of the skills could be naming things, but they're all together in one place. And as a teacher, your instructional strategy is to switch so that students don't get used to the same old thing, but be able to engage the different cognitive skills that they have. Does that make sense? I don't know if it does or not, but that's the theory. And when you take the 512 class, the Flash class, I'm going to show you some instruction that I developed, and my friends developed in Singapore that really demonstrates that you can teach the same thing, same screen in 4 totally different ways and use the same resource. It's important to be able to do that. Question or comment? Got to have one. Yeah.
For those of us who are not familiar with the smartboard and the notebook and the keynote, will you be demonstrating some of the things, or is it go do it and learn as you go?
No. We have I have an activity that we do. That I've developed, and this works all the time. I guarantee you by the time you finish this activity, you'll know the smartboard well. You'll do something at home. And I teach all my students online at the University of Maryland. They all do the same activity. And I have tutorials developed for it. They do it online, they go crazy because it's easy enough to learn, and at least the activity that we do is quite nice. I think you'll like it. And if you don't, you can tell me. I won't feel hurt yet much. Then there's homework. So each week there'll be some kind of homework activity. You know, you'll upload it to the Moodle, and you will put it on your website as well, so people will see what you've done. Grading, standard grading stuff. Academic integrity. It's hard to plagiarize in this class. It is. It's just hard to plagiarize. Everything that you do, though, I'd like you to reference. So if you find something online, a great picture, just if you do a slide or slideshow, at the very last, put like a resource slide, put down where you got it. I'm not going to require total APA style yet, but the idea is just credit where you got it, because you want your students to do the same thing. Just credit where you got it. So there, I buy a lot of my stuff, and a lot of my stuff I make myself because I just use it over and over again. So you might want to do that as well. But make sure to credit stuff. Don't leave me in the situation to ask you, is this yours? If you do something that's like super specific, and you think that, well, maybe Sponda may think that I didn't do this, just say, I did this, or I did this part, or that part, or something like that, please. You guys are successful as it is, and really don't need to copy from anybody else. Attendance, be here, etc., etc. Let me know if there's a problem. Students with special needs. Some people are older than others, or senior, mature, and they need larger type. So if you need that, let me know. Or any other kind of special needs, you can speak to me privately. Philosophy of instruction, yeah. Late pass. I do this online, and it saves people's lives. But any of the activities that are due. For some reason you can't do it, like wife has a baby, get relatives or something like that, you can just use the late pass without any problem. Just say, I'm using the late pass for this assignment. Probably should save it for the bigger assignments, but still, and I find that online when I do this, students are more likely to use it and then do everything else on time. So they feel like they have the pressure. Does that make sense? I always want to tell you what the logic is, whether you agree with it or not. And the logic behind doing that is that people pay more attention to getting all their assignments in time and knowing they can have that resource of using a late pass. So usually I have a late pass that I put a picture of a late pass that I made, but I didn't here. And then the schedule, basically you'll be able to see this, introduction, so on and so forth. I know today's the 5th, right? Is today the 5th? Yeah, okay, the 4th and 5th, same thing. 11th, the September 25th, and for this class it'll be 26, right? No class, don't come in, stay home. I'll be in Brazil. There's a conference, EdTech Distance Learning Conference, for all the teachers in Brazil, and like a worldwide conference, and I've been invited to make a presentation, so I'm going to do it. The only problem is, no one speaks English. It's all Portuguese. Anybody speak Portuguese? Can you help me? So I'm trying to learn Portuguese, actually, and I'm going to make a
Do we
get
get to go if we do?
Sorry?
Do we get to go if we do? To know Portuguese?
If you got the money. Sure, I'll invite you there. They're paying for a lot of it for me. But the thing is that I've got to make a presentation to them, and I'm going to have a simultaneous translation. So there's going to be somebody standing like over there. Therefore, I can't really say a lot because someone's going to try and translate it, and it always loses something, as you know. It never works. And so my plan is to do the presentation in Portuguese on the PowerPoint, just do it in Portuguese using Google Translator and some other tricks, and try and do as much as possible up there, and then try and have a couple of Portuguese phrases, to say, and try and meet the audience more than halfway. And usually when you do that, people are very accepting, and they try and they're much more supportive. But I may even do it here in front of you guys, so you give me feedback if I can get it done in time. And just tell me what you think. You're not going to be able to read the Portuguese, but I want you to understand the technique that I'm trying to use. So there'll be no class there. I'm thinking that on November 7th, that week, I'm not going to have class because that's election. Now, I know that Wednesday is the election will be over, but people may be happy or sad or whatever it is. So Tuesday you can't come to the school because they have voting here.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm going to just make both classes online. So what will happen is we'll be online using WebEx. So we'll get together at, what time is it now? We'll get together about 7 o'clock on that Wednesday. You'll all be online from your home, and we'll have an online class. Question or comment about that? Yeah.
As far as the online one, you said you'd be on about 7 o'clock, but on Wednesdays I have another class at 7:20.
Then we'll see. We'll see whatever, if there are conflicts, we'll make a different
I have
time.
a professor event right after this.
Right, you do. Yeah, maybe at the same time. What time? This starts at 4:30. We can do it at 4:30. Yeah. Okay. People won't be drunk by then. Well, we're celebrating or whatever. But
Is that a challenge? I'm just kidding.
Thanksgiving week, also independent study. The Tuesday class gets off. I don't think it's fair. So you guys, or the Wednesday, you guys get off. So the other folks don't get off. So there'll be independent study on the October 16th. The presentation project will be due. So we'll be starting on that probably next week after, like making the presentations. There'll be some instruction on doing that. And I'll have a chance to do that. That's it. Then the course is over. Holy cow. All finished. Question or comments? Got to have two. Yeah.
ID. What's the ID on that?
Instructional design. ISD is Instructional Systems Design, ID. That's probably the professional, yeah.
And how are you going about learning Portuguese exactly?
I got one of these like things from YouTube.
Afghanistan.
It's like called Rapid Portuguese. I have it on my iPad and I have it on my phone, and I'll put it on at night sometimes. And when I drive to and from, I live about an hour away, so I'll listen to the Portuguese over and over again. And I know 9th grade Spanish, and I used to live in the military. I spent time in Argentina and Panama. So, and I was actually the translator for a group. No one else knew Spanish. I knew 9th grade Spanish, present tense. So I had to do stuff like get the mail and the laundry and stuff like that. I'm not good at languages, but I try. So I know a few words like quiere cabeza un vino. They give me a glass of wine. Or cerveza. Huh?
Cabeza's head.
No, cerveza.
Cerveza.
Cerveza. And it's different. And sha. What is sha in Spanish? Do you have that? Sha. Uma sha. Sha is tea. Is the word for tea in Portuguese.
Unte.
Yeah, but not in Portuguese. Portuguese is sha.
In Spanish.
So, but in English, in Chinese, it's sha. So it's the sha. Okay, other questions that folks have? Yeah.
Again, I think I'm piggybacking off of what you were saying. As
Okay.
far as using smart boards and all that, like, that's very new to my district, so I'm not like an expert or anything on that. So is there gonna be like some instruction on it, or is this kind of like jump in the pool, sink or swim kind of thing?
What's it going to be?
I'm gonna have a tutorial.
I
I didn't hear.
have tutorials for it.
Oh,
We'll do it in class, and I guarantee you, by the time you finish the tutorial and do the activity after, you'll be top. You'll know what's going on. Seriously. I've had students in these classes, actually, we had one student in the undergraduate class end up becoming the trainer in Hartford. She trained folks in how to use the smartboard. She got a job as the trainer for smartboard. She never used it before the class. She did real well too. Her name is Anna Roccanatini. I don't know if anybody know her, Anna? But she got a job, made a lot of money, and so you'll learn to do that. And for those people who have money, do you have money? You can go to a smart board, a smart training program. I went to one in New York, cost like $1,000. I got the school of it. Okay, all right, we don't. But once you get that training, you can actually offer your own training. And school districts and other places hire you.
Charge people.
And you charge them. Seriously, so the industry with a smart board, and you're in a school, one of the grants you might want to write is, I want to go to smart board training so I can help people here in the district. So you do that, then in the summers, you have your own business of giving smart board training, and $300-400 a shot. You can make back the money in like one training. So it's something that to consider as you're thinking about your future. You want to do training and development. I don't know if you can write that off on your taxes, but I suspect you might be able to. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.